Hey everyone, so I want to make a follow-up video to my last video regarding how Wigglytuff has impacted the meta for Jungle Cup. I'm making this video after a weekend of Jungle Cups after the release of Charm, and so this way we can see the impact it has had on the meta. The last thing I want to do is mislead people by making a video about Pokemon and making people think that it's much stronger than it is. So I'm going to dive into the impact Wigglytuff has had on the Cups and see if it's a winning strategy or not. First and foremost, if you look at any tournament results, you'll see that Wigglytuff has definitely redefined the meta. Whether that's beating previous meta lines with Wigglytuff or having people overcorrect and have a lot of Wigglytuff counters on their team. Either way, regardless of if you bring a Wigglytuff or not, you'll see that a lot of the lineups are much different than they were pre-update. Something I want to note is that in my last video, I talked about how Wigglytuff needs a 120 attack breakpoint to beat Vigoroth in one shield situations if the Vigoroth has high defense and HP. Although that is true, one of the people that commented on my video, their name is Nephilim Haas, pointed out that 120 attack Wigglytuff actually loses against a 74.9 defensive bulk point Wigglytuff in the mirror match. And so if you can see on the screen, I'm using PV Poke to simulate this, and the one that hits the 74.9 breakpoint does beat the 120 attack Wigglytuff in all shield situations. It shows a tie in the zero shield. That's because both Wigglytuffs choose to simultaneously use Play Rough, but if they choose to use Charm instead of using a charge move, the 74.9 breakpoint Wigglytuff wins that as well. So essentially, 74.9 defensive breakpoint Wigglytuff beats the 120 attack Wigglytuff in all shield situations. I think the majority of people will still stick with the 120 attack Wigglytuff, but that's something to note in case you end up in a mirror match. Regarding the Jungle Cup meta, my main theory going into this weekend came about in my conversations with Twastel from Go Stadium. My theory is that the old meta jungle teams will lose hard to any Wigglytuff teams. However, any teams built to counter Wigglytuff will likely beat Wigglytuff teams, and the old meta teams will beat the Wigglytuff counter teams. And so I decided to do some practice matches with my friend Palmer's Up, and what I'm doing is comparing the top teams from the Open Qualifier in Germany versus the top teams from the Argentina Jungle Cup that happened this past weekend. I'll be using Nemo Storm Blood's team, and so he won first place in that Open Qualifier. I'll also be using Kev Killer K, who was undefeated going to final round that Open Qualifier, and I'll be using Marco 2 Sur 5, and Marco was tied for second and had the highest tiebreaker score. And for the Argentina Jungle Cup, Mastercore 15 won the entire cup 8-0. However, he actually didn't bring a Wigglytuff onto his team, so I decided to have Palmer's run the team that was most popularly used by the people that went 7-1 in that tournament. So the interesting thing is 4 out of the 6 people had the same exact lineup. I will also showcase a match using Mastercore's team versus the Wigglytuff team, but the first 3 rounds you'll see are from the Dortmund Open Qualifier versus the Wigglytuff Argentina teams. In this first match, I'm going to be using Nemo's team against the top Wigglytuff team from Argentina's Cup. As a disclaimer, I'm prone to make some mistakes here or there. So in this first matchup, I'm going to go in with Noctowl, Vigoroth, and Vespiquen. And so this is going to give me some coverage against Vigoroth. And right here, I'm going to switch right to Noctowl, and he brings out the Wigglytuff. And it's not a great situation for me, but I know that I could do definitely quite a bit of damage, or at least burn some shields in the process of using Sky Attack against a Wigglytuff. And the main thing with Wigglytuff is you can finish most opponents off with just Charm, so that way you can save a charge move for what's coming out next. And so right here, he's going to hit me with a charge move right away, and I decided to shield it, and it's going to be Ice Beam, and I could just feint it out because I know it takes Wigglytuff quite a bit of time to get to another charge move. And so if Friend's Plan is going to do quite a bit of damage against Venusaur, so I'm going to shield that. And I know that if I could burn another shields, I might be able to get to another body slam in time, but instead of playing that risk, I'm just going to bring out Vespiquen. That way, whatever's coming out after, so Fortress, Vespiquen can handle. So here's one of those times where I made a user error, so I shouldn't have used X-Scissor, I should have used Power Gem. For some reason, I thought that Power Gem was also resisted, but it actually does neutral. So in that situation with shields down, definitely use Power Gem on Vespiquen against a Fortress rather than X-Scissor. But I did have kind of a lead advantage here because I still have Vigoroth in the back, and that will finish off. So first game, I did win with a pre-Charm team against a Wigglytuff Charm team, so definitely is not completely one-sided. So here I'm going to lead with Vigoroth, with Vespiquen and Noctowl in the back, so pretty much the same exact lineup except switch around. And I go for the Bulldoze. I know it's kind of a gamble, but I figured that he probably wouldn't shield the first body slam, and he didn't, so that worked out pretty well for me. And right here, I have enough for a double body slam against the Wigglytuff, so he's going to shield that and take it out. So I feel like I'm in a pretty decent spot, although he has switch advantage, but I know that I can definitely come back from this switch disadvantage on my end. And like I said before, it does take a while for Charge to get to any charge move afterwards, so that's why I chose to use Noctowl right there to just farm it. And then I switched right away to Vespiquen, so this way I could charge up some energy. And this portion, I should use Power Gem again, to be honest. So another point where I should have used Power Gem, but instead I'm using X-Scissor. But I'm going to go in with Noctowl right here, and I'm going to shield this, figuring that's probably Heavy Slam. So back before the update, and so this was actually a huge mistake by me, but I end up getting the Sky Attack off, and but I probably should have got that Sky Attack off first on the Fortress, and that way I wouldn't have been faded out by Lantern. So I might have been able to win that one, but either way it was a close match, and the Wigglytuff won, team won in that situation. And right here, so I do decide to switch just because I know that I need the Venusaur for the Wigglytuff later. So I'm going in with Venusaur, Vespiquen, and Noctowl. And so Venus was really my main Wigglytuff counter at this point. So that's why I decided to switch into Noctowl instead. And I'm going to go in with the Venusaur here. I know I have enough for a charge move already. No, I go in with Vespiquen actually. So I go in with Vespiquen because I know even though it's not a favorable matchup for Vespiquen, I can at least get some energy against whatever's coming out next. So if it's Venusaur, that's pretty good because it's a good counter. And then Fortress right here, this time I am properly using Power Gem. I was on a call with Justin while playing these matches, and he was like, yeah, you should use Power Gem next time. So learned my lesson right there. So that was a really smart play by him actually. So baiting out my shield and hitting me with a Sludge Bomb. The main thing to note that pre-charm teams now have advantage of compared to post-charm teams is that Fortress will probably be carrying Heavy Slam and Earthquake instead of Rock Tomb and Earthquake. So that means the bugs have a slightly better advantage against Fortress than before. And so that the first team using Nemo's team, it was 1-2 loss for me. And so now I'm going against the same team using Kev Killer's team. And so here I'm running Venusaur, Vigoroth, and Noctowl. And so I need the Venusaur to counter the Wigglytuff. So that's why I'm deciding to bring it. And you'll see that a lot of these pre-charm teams don't have Fortress just because it wasn't as necessary. But I think post-charm you definitely do, especially with the matchup against Wigglytuff. And so I'm going to just shield this Ice Beam because I figure it's going to be Ice Beam. And I want to keep this Venusaur alive as long as possible because it can still counter Vigoroths and many other things. I decided to shield this. I kind of have to at this point. And I go in with Sludge Bomb. Actually worked out even on the switch because it was still going to be good against Venusaur. And right here, I know that I can survive a Sludge Bomb, so I'm just going to farm this Venusaur for energy. And then use my Noctowl pretty much to take out his Noctowl. And pretty much I know I need to get the Sky Attack before him, otherwise my Venus is going to be in a bad situation. So I end up taking another win with a pre-update team, this time with Kev Killer's team. Yeah, so I'm going in with the same exact lineup, so Venusaur, Vigoroth, and Noctowl. Right here, so he adjusts, and this is not a great situation. And so I decided to go in with Vigoroth. I know that even if he brings in a Wigglytuff afterward, I'll have quite a bit of energy stored up. And so I'm just going to store some more energy, and this way potentially hit him with 2 back-to-back body slams, which I am able to do, but he does decide to shield. There's a little bit of lag right there. But yeah, we decided to continue playing through. So against Wigglytuff, it could definitely take the body slam. And so here, I'm going to use Venusaur. And I could have farmed maybe a little bit more, but I didn't want to play the risk of running into an Ice Beam. So I decided to shield this. And I know that even though Frenzy Plant is resisted, it's going to do plenty against Noctowl. He does decide to shield it. And so right here, I'm just going to take it out with my own Noctowl. And my guess is if he was shielding it, he probably had a good reason because he probably didn't have a good counter for my Venusaur in the back, and so that's pretty much what I'm doing right here. I'm just going to try to wear down this Lantern before going against my Venusaur. Yeah, I wasn't sure if I was going to survive the Thunderbolt, but he does get to a second one before I can get to a Frenzy Plant. So well done by Justin there. So I end up losing the second one. And going into the third match, I'm going to bring in Venusaur, Noctowl, and Heracross. Heracross is very weak to Charm users, but I'm hoping I could potentially catch something that's weak to Heracross, such as potentially Lantern or Venusaur or his Vigoroth. And this is really good because he's bringing in the Wigglytuff early against my Noctowl, so I know that my Heracross does not have to worry about this Wigglytuff later on down the road. Granted, this is not great though if he is going to bring Noctowl out later, and that's pretty much my big mistake here. And so I know that he's probably going to bring out Noctowl, and I need to pretty much take this out with Sludge Bombs. I'm going to try to piggyback as much as I can because I need the energy advantage to do some damage here. And he chooses not to shield, and then I'm going... So right there, what I could have just thrown out a Frenzy Plant, but I decided to wait too long. And so even though this Noctowl can't get to Sky Attack in time, it's still kind of game over because he still has a shield, and that's going to take out my Heracross. So maybe if I played that one better, I could have done slightly better, but I'm not too sure if I still would have won or not. So I end up losing 2 matches to 1 with Kev Killer's team as well, and so now I'm going into match number or round number 3, and this is with Marco 2 Sir 5, also a player that finished I believe 6-1 in the Dortmund Open Qualifier. So right here I'm going to go with Vigoroth, Victory Bell, and Lantern. Victory Bell, this is probably the first Victory Bell team I'm playing with, and so it's a little bit different. And the main thing to note is that he really only has one true Wigglytuff counter, and so which is Victory Bell. And so this is going to definitely make my match a little bit harder. But knowing that with a slight energy advantage, Vigoroth can do quite a bit of damage against Wigglytuff, I'm pretty much relying on a combined group of soft counters or semi-decent hard hitters to take out Wigglytuff right here. And so I'm going to do a quick switch, and that ended up working out for me because Lantern's able to take out the Noctowl pretty easily. So that worked out pretty well, and of course Wigglytuff's gonna come in, and it's not gonna be enough to take out Lantern right here, and also I still have Victory Bell in the back. So this is the team that I thought would do the worst against Wigglytuff, but ended up pulling off 1 win there. And then here I'm going against Noctowl. I have Noctowl, Vigoroth, and Heracross in the back, and so really I want to get rid of this Noctowl because I know that Heracross is going to struggle a little bit, and I'm doing whatever I can to pretty much take lead advantage here, or switch advantage. It's a little bit tough because it's kind of unclear at this point who is winning in that scenario, also how much of it is IV based, and yeah, so right here I know that he's probably going to need another Sky Attack to feint me out, so I hold on to shield, but I'm going to shield this right here. And at this point I'm pretty sure that we're just going to take each other out with fast attacks, and so that's what happens. And I'm pretty much holding on to my Pokemon as long as possible to figure out what he's going to use. And so he brings in Wigglytuff, which is a pretty good situation for me because Vigoroth is able to beat it in the one shield. So what you'll see right there is I actually messed up. And so what I meant to do was do a double body slam, but I miscounted. And he brought in the Venusaur hoping to absorb one of the body slams, because the main thing is Heracross is going to take out Venusaur with Mega Horn one way or another, so he could tank the body slam with my Vigoroth and then come in later with a no energy Vigoroth with his Wigglytuff. But because I actually miscounted, that delayed second body slam allowed me to switch to Heracross before hitting with the Venusaur. So one of those times where my mistakes actually end up working out. So I decided to go in with the same exact lineup right here, and so I go in with Noctowl, Vigoroth, and Heracross. And again, I don't really have a true counter to Wigglytuff, so I'm going to use kind of a combined force of Noctowl and Vigoroth to take it out. And so either I'm going to just burn a lot of shields or get an advantage right there. So I end up burning both shields and getting switch advantage, which is definitely puts me in a pretty solid position. And I'm going to try to take out this Venusaur. And so right here, I'm thinking that if he has a Noctowl, which he does, it's going to be kind of hard because I pretty much need to take out this Noctowl with my Noctowl and take out the Venusaur. So I switch in Heracross right away before he uses Sky Attack to absorb that damage and put him on neutral energy. And this way, it allows me to be able to take out his Noctowl and still have a shield against this Venusaur. And so I pretty much sacrifice Heracross right there for a charge attack, but end up working out really, really well for me. And then so I end up winning. So the weird thing is this team I actually swept Justin 3-0 pre-charm update, and it's the only one that I actually did that well against. So very interesting how that played out. And so now I'm using Mastercore's team against the top of 4 other finishers of the Argentina tournament. And so I just want to see kind of how he played this out and stuff. And so obviously he might have played it differently than me, and he's also a very skilled player, so he might have played better than me. But he does have Vespiquen, and Vespiquen does lose to Wigglytuff in all shield situations. So definitely not as hard of a countering team against the post-charm update as many other teams may be against specifically Wigglytuff. So he really only has Fortress and Venusaur as his true counters. And I was trying to get to a Power Gem right here, which ended up working. And yeah, so I pretty much at this point I have to bring in Vigoroth to take out this Noctowl. And yeah, so it's looking at Mastercore's team, it's kind of interesting just because it is a little bit weak to Wigglytuff. Okay, and then so I switch right here to Fortress to take out the Wigglytuff. I pretty much figured that he switched when I saw that animation kind of glitch where you could see the full health, and so it's pretty much yeah, that was pretty much my only way to deal with the Noctowl, and so it worked out right there. So definitely ways around it. So obviously I had to match up the Fortress with Wigglytuff, and so I'm going in with the same lineup: Fortress, Vigoroth, and Vespiquen. And so I decided to farm a little bit energy and then switch, and this way I have a slight energy advantage against Vigoroth, but a little bit less of a health advantage against this Vigoroth. And so we're both pretty much trying to piggyback each other. I think I messed up a little bit there. It was a simultaneous click. Yeah, so I'm able to get to this body slam. He does decide not to shield, and now he has the Lantern. So I'm bringing in the Fortress right here, and so I'm pretty much going to try to hit an Earthquake. Very good switch by Justin. Does almost no damage to this Noctowl, so I pretty much wasted all that energy on a Fortress. And I'm pretty much going to have to take it out with Heavy Slam. This is a really bad situation for me because I have Vespiquen in the back, going to be weak to the Noctowl. I know I could tank one Sky Attack, but still not a great matchup, and he has a lot of energy built up. Should I have switched the Fortress into Vespiquen earlier? I'm not really sure, just because I still have to deal with this Lantern too, and even though it's close, it was just not enough. So he does win the second match with the Wigglytuff team, and now I'm going into the last match with Vespiquen, Noctowl, and Fortress. And so I catch him on a good opening. So, and I don't really know why I stayed in this too long. I think his main reason, if you look at my lineup, is because I have Noctowl and Fortress in the back, and so I want to at least burn a shield, right? If I'm going to come in with my own Noctowl. Was that the best decision? I don't really know, to be honest, but I knew he would have an energy advantage on his Noctowl anyway, so I want to at least burn a shield or do enough damage with Power Gem to kind of even the playing field. Just a little bit of lag right here, but yeah, so I pretty much need to take out his Noctowl because both my other two Pokemons are weak to Noctowl, and so I do that, but I am at 0 shields now, which is not ideal. And he has a Vigoroth, and so I'm going to be able to get a Sky Attack off, but I think I might have left my Vespiquen in the match too long earlier, so now its health is not at full health, and this Vigoroth has a lot of built-up energy. And so now he has Wigglytuff, and so this is what the Fortress is mainly for, taking it out, and I'm going to hit it with the Heavy Slam. What I probably should have did right there was undercharge the Heavy Slam a little bit, because I knew I could tank the Ice Beam, but because that way I would have had enough for at least a Heavy Slam against the Vigoroth right here. But but I don't think it would have mattered because he had two back-to-back body slams ready. I do end up losing the matchup using Masticore's team 1-2. I'm not too surprised, to be honest, because against Wigglytuff teams, it isn't the strongest. Obviously, Masticore found a way around that, and I'm sure he played against a lot of Wigglytuff teams with Charm, so it's definitely still a viable strategy. As you can see, Wigglytuff still very relevant for the meta. You most definitely do not have to bring a Wigglytuff to win tournaments. Hopefully you enjoy the matches. My own Jungle Cup will be on this upcoming Saturday, so be sure to look out for that. Feel free to subscribe for future content on Pokemon Go PvP. I wish you all the best of luck in your Jungle Cups, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.